So hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. We welcome you and we hope that we continue learning. Today we are discussing what you should know when you want to become an entrepreneur. We really appreciate you making the time to join us today. My name is Grace Nzula. I'm a HR consultant and trainer with Atara Solutions, a HR consulting firm, and I'm a manager at Vanessa Training Institute, a carpentry school. Get It Right with Atara Solutions is a platform where we demystify issues to do with entrepreneurship and employment. We are in partnership with the Lego Academy, a software development and capacity building academy. This is our 13th webinar. We started with how to register your business legally, and last week we were discussing debt management. And I really appreciate your comments and your feedback on the debt management, and I hope you received our notes. If you missed any of our webinars, please visit the Atara Solutions YouTube channel to catch up, and while at it, kindly subscribe and click the notification button. Next week, we shall be discussing a very, very important topic of you retired when you started working. This is more on the money management side. Please join us. Allow me to share some facts. So of all the businesses that started in 2020, 22% of them will fail by the December of this year. That means 22% of all businesses that start per year actually fail. 30% will fail by the second year, 50% in the fifth year, and 70% in the 10th year. These are not jokes, these are facts. And this is the narrative that Get It Right with Atara Solutions is trying to change. The number of times I have been asked, how do I start a business? I am an employee and I'd like to start a side hustle. I have a hustle I want to balance because we need more income. And COVID has brought about a need for extra income. It has also brought about a change in how businesses are run. There's a friend of mine the other day who told me, Grace, I am tired of running a business. It's not easy. I want to go back into employment. Now, another one has also come to me and asked, how can I start a business? I've been looking for a job for a very long time and nothing is coming forth. So I would like to get into business. And all these needs require transition. And to help us understand this better, I am pleased to introduce our speaker today, Madam Gina Muigai. Welcome very much, Gina. She is the founder of Afrimentor Consulting Group and a business consultant of choice who helps people transition from employment into entrepreneurship. She has also transformed how Black professionals, especially African immigrants, get into the American workforce. She was actually featured in the People Daily a couple of weeks back. And I'm sure she will share with us, she has a wealth of knowledge that we really, really need to tap into. Gina, how do I become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so where do we start? Yes, I thank you, Grace, for inviting me over, for sure. I attended a couple of webinars and they were pretty informative. I got something out of it. And I also want to thank Alex. He's the one who told me about Atara, and he asked me to come and join. So thank you so much, Alex. Oh, I'm gonna just put up here. Okay, so today we're gonna be talking mostly about how to transition from employment and entrepreneurship, and what you can benefit from, becoming an entrepreneur if you are already one who wanna do better. And with that, I can start by introducing myself. Do I do that? Do you usually do it before the webinar? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I did a bit of the introduction, but you can go ahead. Please introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, so hi, everybody. My name is Gina Muigai. Well, born and raised in Kenya. So Yes, I went to Kenya for my high school education, went to Asia for my college level education, came to America for higher education. Currently, almost completing my PhD in business administration. Very excited about it. And at the same time, like Grace mentioned, that and I don't want to call myself entrepreneur because that is too much responsibility. But I'm heading there. My goal is to actually become one. Where my business is going to be serving me without me having to put in a lot of work. So based on what we are talking about, the reason they call me mainly is because of Afrimentor, and that is to mean that I have a business called Afrimentor Consulting Group that I started here in the US about 4 years ago, incorporated less than 2 years ago. Well, I started it with a different name called AfriPub, and then I had to transition. So technically, it's been the same for the past 4 years, but then with just a different registered name. Um, the reason, Grace, that we could talk about this is because I talk with a lot of employees, that is professionals, most of the time bachelor's degree holders and above. And at the same time, I work with the people who have built successful careers or who feel that they want to transition from employment into entrepreneurship. Um, Myself, I was one of them. I have been an employee and I have also gone into entrepreneurship, which I think is a really good balance, a good way to transition other than like, living as an employee. So little story about where I come from in regard to Afrimentor and entrepreneurship. One, I'm going to be sharing, this is a disclaimer, Grace. I will share what have worked for me because there's like so many ways to make anything work. And therefore, the scope of this presentation is purely what I have done, what has worked for me, and maybe it can resonate with you or it can help somebody try the same path and it's going to work. And so I'm not gonna be saying like this is the right way to do it. If you don't do it this way, you're not right or you're gonna fail. I'm gonna be telling you what I have done that has worked and it could help you work. Is that okay, Chris?
Absolutely.
Yes. My my Afri mentor journey started when I came to the US. That was like 8 years ago. We had just finished college with Gina Alex in India, where we graduated, and then I came back to Kenya. I was looking for a job. It wasn't easy. It was so difficult. I could not find the right job, and even if I found the right job, there was a lot of things to worry about. And then I figured, you know what? How about I go to the U.S.? They say it's a land of milk and honey. I would use some little bit of milk and honey. So I found my way to the U.S. only to get here and realize, like, wait a minute, I am a black female millennial from Africa, you know, and that does not describe really a person who is ready to become a corporate leader. So technically, everything was against me. Like, I needed to be like not a female, I needed to be not black, I needed to be a little older, I needed to be everything that I was not for me to establish a successful career. So that was like 8 years ago in 2012. And therefore, like many Africans who come to the US, what you have to do, you kind of have to adjust to the market. You kind of have to do what you got to do to get your bills paid, to like, manage through your days. But then when I started that, I took a menial job, very little pay, no fulfillment, and that type of stuff. Not knowing, just so you know, I was an A student. I did pretty well. I did well in college. I had a perfect GPA. And that's why when I finished my college in India, the moment I applied for a master's degree, master's programs in the US, like schools were fighting for me because not only did I have a perfect GPA, but in India, education is so intense. So at the end, by the time we completed our bachelor's degree, we already had like 24 credits on top of the required credits, which is like, in other words, it's like having a degree and a half. So I was pretty like well-rounded. So I got my admissions right away and came over. Then when I had to do what I had to do, I realized that I don't get any fulfillment and I felt wasted for the degree that I had and so many credits on top of that to just not come and use it because of where I'm coming from. that is where I started thinking of what can I do to utilize my degree to get into the corporate, to compete with these 50-year-old white males who actually are the right description of a corporate leader, you know. So when I got there, I started now cracking the code. I started figuring out how can I get a good job in corporate America. And when I found my way in, when I got like so many interviews, I got job offers to a point where I was working as the only Black professional in the whole headquarters. That's when I realized I want to bring over people who look like me, African immigrants, people we can talk about, rain outside in African mountains and stuff like that. And I tried, no one could get in. And then I tried to figure why, because I remember at that time I had started my PhD program. And one day I was sitting, everyone in my class was like an executive, but we had four African guys. And out of the four people, three of them were making like $25 an hour. They did not even have like a C-suite level career, not talk less of like a good job. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to bring you to my company. And so we're going to be talking about school, talk about work, talk about Africa, like have it cool. But none could get in for some reason. None could get in. That's when I asked them to give me their resume because my company really needed to hire someone, especially like a Black person for the balance. And I asked them to give me their resume so I could take it to the HR. And when I went in there, I asked them to send it to the HR, and I went to her office to let her know, oh, hey, so and so is gonna send you a resume. He's a good staff employee. I recommend him. Please get him hired. Um, Only to find that later they did not get hired. They did not even get to hear from them, not even an interview. So I asked them to provide me with their resume so I can have a look at them and see what the gap could be. And when I looked at it, there was like a huge gap. Like it was embarrassed. It was embarrassing that I told my HR that I was going to be a good candidate. Just because they are doing a PhD did not mean that they are a good employee. So I decided to help. He was called Clark, so from Liberia. So I decided to help Clark, position himself, get a good job. I helped Clark and he got a job. And then I had the other one, who he was called Harry from Nigeria. I helped Harry and he got a job. And then I figured, wait a minute, I could help many more Africans get good jobs just like that. And then when we wake up, we find like many executives in decision making tables, people from Africa. At that point, I was a good employee. At the same time, I was very unfulfilled. Even though I got the job that I thought was a good job, I still felt empty for the reason that even when I have an idea, I'm very idealistic, like I'm strategic. I do a lot of intellectual work than labor work. So even when I'm working, I can process a lot of things and come up with different ways to improve processes, efficiencies, and stuff like that. But when I go to talk about them to my bosses who are not Black, who don't even understand, they feel like, that's just a good idea, but we'll see, we'll figure it out, and do nothing about it. So I was like, I feel my intellect is insulted and was ready to move on. Then I figured instead of leaving this company and go look for another job, how about I make it my full-time job to help Africans get better jobs like I did, because that will help me, position our people, at the same time make an impact, and at the same time feel very fulfilled in what I'm doing. So that is how I transitioned from employment to entrepreneurship, and that is how Afrimentor Consulting Group was formed, where we started by helping professionals, people who come to the US even with a degree like I did, people who have got degrees in the US and they do not even know how to navigate the job market to get positions in there. So we started helping them one person at a time. And as of this moment, we have thousands and thousands of people who just land here, people who just graduate, people who don't even know what to do. Like you just got your green card, you're here, you're not sure. Do I go to technology, healthcare, legal career, business career? So we help them navigate all of that with a good team of people who actually provide a lot of support with a lot of cultural understanding. Cultural competency is a big one for us because you need to understand Africans for you to be able to help them. You don't tell me like a white person who never been to Africa will come and tell me how to solve problems that are deep rooted in my culture and my background, And so when it comes to talking about transitioning from employment to entrepreneurship and where we are today, which is what I am technically going to be sharing with you guys, I just prepared a few points. Usually my presentations are usually short. So if I do less than an hour, that's totally fine. Like it's about quality, not quantity, right?
Yes.
So number one, what I figured was to know your why. Okay. Knowing your why is technically understanding why you want to do that. Most of the time you find that a lot of people they feel that, or a lot of people who have a dream, they want to transition into entrepreneurship. They really feel that it's about the money, it's chasing the dollar. I mean, the shilling. It's chasing the shilling and making money, making your life better. But then when you get there, you realize actually it's not just about the money. To me personally, we say that I'm going to be talking about me personally. Money is just a tool. Money is just a tool that helps me move from point A to point B or make things easier without necessarily determining who I am or impacting who I am. With or without money, I want to remain to be the same. And therefore, when I am doing anything, including what job I'm going to take, what type of business I'm going to start, all of that have got to come from a point that is deeper than just chasing the money. I love the money. I love the comfort money offers. Definitely, I want to deal with poverty. But at the same time, it's not the major motivation. So when you understand your why is to figure out why do I want to do this? Why do I want to focus and put a lot of emphasis in helping people join a webinar every Tuesday? You know, why do I want to put emphasis on helping Africans get better jobs? When you have that deeper understanding, it gives you the motivation and the drive because running a business is very difficult. Like for me, it's been hard because I was doing like a PhD while at the same time running a business, and it's not like at a point where I can take myself out of the equation and everything runs. It's so difficult. You have so many reasons to quit. And so when you understand your deeper reason as to why, the reason that makes you feel motivated, the impact you want to create, it's better to look at something that you really love doing when you combine that with something you're passionate about. So there's love to it and there is passion to it, and it's something that you totally believe in. For me, when I was starting Afrimentor, I strongly believed, I think it's because I was an African from Africa and all of that, I strongly believe we have way much more to offer corporate America or American job market than the Africans who are here and what we were valued at. Because I looked at the statistics, I did my research only to find that most of us get like a fraction of what we are worth, you know? And so that upset my spirit. Just the thought of that, just seeing that people with degrees are making little, like someone who just have an associate degree or a diploma is making the same amount with as an African who have a master's degree, that upset my spirit. And so that is how you figure your passion. You can find something you're really inclined to or something that really pisses you off to the core of your being, you know? So that made me understand I'm really passionate about positioning Black professionals because at this point, not only do we help Africans from Africa, but we help Black professionals from all over. Not to mean that we don't help whites and Asians and other people. We definitely do, but it's just the major motivation is Black professionals. So that is the number one, understand your why. To know your why, you have to be really passionate about it, love it, believe in it. No matter what anyone tells you, no matter whatever anyone could come and tell me, hey, Africans are not efficient, they are super slow, there's no rush in Africa, it's Hakuna Matata type of life. I'm like, no, we can be Hakuna Matata, we can be pretty slow, but we have some to offer. It doesn't have to be like what you envision it to be, but we have a way of like bringing in value to the market. And then the second point is about knowing who you want to serve. Okay. And by this, it also means like being able to niche down. Because this is a mistake I see with a lot of people, because I also help business owners launch their businesses, grow it, and move to the next level. But what I realize is that a lot of people kind of shoot in the air blindly. You know, it's like, oh, you know what? I need a meal. So you take your arrow and you just shoot in the air, hoping whatever bird you hit, whatever you hit, if it's a squirrel or whatever it will be, that's what you're gonna eat. You know. most of the time when you just shoot blindly, you don't get anything at all. And if you get something, chances are it's not going to be what you want to eat. You get an eagle when you wanted to eat a dove or something like that. So what you want to do is to understand who it is that you are going to serve. For instance, in my case, I could help every professional on earth get a better job. Literally, I know that. I don't even doubt that. But then it's about niching down and understanding who do I want to help. And that is how I came down to Black professionals, mainly African immigrants. And the reason is deeper rooted to my why. And when I go to the market, when I have a target market, I get to understand their needs at a deeper level. Because if I have 24 hours in a day, and I want to make an impact. Now, remember, we said it's not just about the money. Money is good and money will definitely come. When you do something good, money will find you. You don't even have to go looking for it. But when you get to a point where now you're focusing on helping a specific group, you dig deeper. Like I said, it's about quality work. I prefer quality work anything over quantity. So you identify that market. If you are helping professionals, what type of professionals are you helping? You can choose to help students who are freshly graduating from college. You can choose to help scientists who are studying chemistry. You can choose to help whatever demographic you want to go by, but be very, very specific. And that also brings about the point of knowing what you want in the end. Because what do you want to achieve? For me, I want to see Black Africans like in these top corporate positions. I want to see them seated in decision-making tables. I want to see them in board members, board meetings. And mind you, that is the same motivation that helped me in my PhD. My dissertation also takes care of that because I love that topic that much that I can do it as my full-time job. I can research about it, in my school. It's like what I live because I'm really passionate about it. So with that, you help understand, you figure out what you want to see in the end as a solution. They want to see everyone, every person in Kenya who would want to do entrepreneurship to know the way, figure out the way, provide them a map with all of that. So once you know that, you can now reverse engineer where you're going by creating easy steps to actually keep going. And then the next point is to figure out what solutions do you want to bring to the table. In other words, what problems are you solving? Because you can help everyone with a lot of things. A good example, Apple, iPhone, they provide really nice phones. We all love Apple and all of that. But guess what? They can also provide a dishwasher, fridges, tables, torch, camera, TVs, everything. But then when you understand what you are willing to offer, you focus on that. Human brain is not wired to be like super broad. When you spread yourself too thin, you end getting lost in the thinness. But if you go low, you actually are able to go really deep. So you understand what solutions are you bringing or what is that problem that you're willing to solve. When you see that problem, sometimes you can be tempted to like, creep outside of the scope of what you're doing, but you want to just always remember your why. When you know your why and you already know the impact you want to do, you already know the who you want to serve, then when you define your product, it's going to be very niche down. A good example is, let's say, for me, for Afrimentor. So for Afrimentor, if we are helping students, we will be targeting a group of like 16, 17 year olds to about 24 year olds. Those are the fresh graduates from college. But if we are targeting a C-suite career people, that is going to be someone who is between 31, and all the way up to 55, depending on how fast their career grew. So once you know the group you want to help, it becomes super easy for you to focus, niche down, and provide valuable solutions. So always know your audience, know what you expect of them, and what you want them to achieve. Okay, and that brings us to the next point, which is about differentiating yourself from the market. When you differentiate yourself from the market, what that does to you, it makes your work easier. In reality, it makes your work easier because you will always stand up for something. I mentioned about Apple. Using the same example, anytime, like for me, whenever I'm buying a phone, I don't even have to think. It's like definitely the next Apple product that is coming up because they have already differentiated their market by providing super sleek, cute, nice fonts, that are durable and last long. And so it's not even a biggie to decide, do I get a Samsung or a Huawei or Safaricom phone? I will just be going straight to the Apple because they already differentiated themselves to them in the market, and they have something that is going to be providing a lot of value. The same here, whatever you are doing, figure out how you differentiate yourself in the market. And it don't have to be something as big. It has to be just something teeny tiny bit. It could be like you're just an Uber driver. Okay, you're an Uber driver. You love driving clients, and what you want to do is just maybe have some water in your car, or maybe you have face wipes. So when someone sits in your car, you dish them a candy, a tropical candy, or a chewing gum. Things that are as little as that can set you apart permanently and position you to win. When you have a webinar, we have thousands and thousands of webinars going on at the same time today. Why am I in a Tara solution and not in other webinar? Because you set yourself apart, differentiate your product, and you have got people who tune in, understand clearly what they are going to be getting out of tuning in every hour in your session. And then another thing which is very important, that is the point number 5, is to learn how to sell. Now, that sounds daunting because a lot of people, when you hear about selling, the image comes, I'm at the door, knocking door to door, trying to convince people to buy a product. That's not about it. That is physical. Selling is beyond, exchanging money for a product. Selling is just, it's more like a lifestyle, it's a way of being, it's living what you, and this is why you have to be very passionate, because when you're passionate about something, you will provide the best value and it will be very comfortable for you to even sell it because you will be living it. You already believe in it. You believe in it, it becomes very easy to sell. But if you're trying to sell something you yourself do not believe in, or you cannot use, you cannot buy, it becomes really hard. You don't have to go to school to learn selling. You can just learn from YouTube, from Google, free services all over the internet, and at the same time, just teach yourself to believe in what you're selling, because the truth is very easy to deliver. So when you're delivering the truth, you already know the market, you already know who you're targeting, the value they are going to be receiving is going to be super easy for you. And then another point, the point number 6, which is very, very important point to note, is to start small. You want to start small. This is a mistake I see with so many people, where you have an idea, you want to launch it, and you go all in. Like, you go all in, you give it all, you don't have enough money or something, but you are ready to go and borrow money, bring investors aboard for an idea that has not even been tested. You have not even proven the concept. And that's difficult because it puts a lot of pressure on you. Because if someone has put in their money, or the bank is demanding you to pay back their money, it becomes difficult. You kind of have so much pressure to make the business work, to pay people who you owe, and you are trying to prove the concept at the same time. It's like a lot of confusion going on at the same time. So the goal is to start small. For me, I never used any capital to start Afrimentor. I never used any capital because I was working. I transitioned slowly, and at the same time, instead of like starting a whole full-blown website, getting an office, doing this and that, all I did was like, hey Clark, I can help you get a better job. Like, I can write your resume and show you how to go about it. And then he paid me, and then I did the same to Harry. And then before I know it, I'm doing it to many people. And by the time I'm building my website, of course, my first website, I actually built it myself because I had taken coding classes, which was pretty good. They saved me a lot of money. But then by the time I was getting to a point of hiring a professional web developer, I had already raised that money from doing the work with my client, had already proved my concept. I already knew the market and everything. It was just flowing. I wasn't having to go borrow money or invest this or all that. Okay, and that happens even to today. I have a Facebook show. It's called the Gina Muigai show, where I train people. And if you have ever come across my show, it has over 37,000 followers as of now. But I have never used a flyer. I have never used like a professional flyer. I've never used all this fancy stuff. Because when people are starting something, what they do, they focus their energy on creating good looks, which are pretty external. But for me, I go internal because I believe it doesn't matter how good my flyer is going to be. What matters is the content I provide. And I find like my competitors or people who are trying to do something similar or something different in their own field, you find that they will be spending all of this on flyers every week before the show. They'll be spending on fancy, overrated websites, doing all this classy stuff. But in the end, I have more followers than them, or I am creating impact than them, because the goal is to help one person at a time get a better job. It's not about presenting me with a cute fancy flyer. I've never done professional, video shooting and all of that, well, which I hope to, because now I can afford it. But it wasn't a priority at all. So when your competitors, when other people are focusing on, oh my God, how do I post my next Instagram post? How do I get my flyers to be looking all this sleek and fancy and all of that? I was taking that time to actually think, how do I provide more value to my clients? So when they are doing all that, I'm bidding on my craft. I'm bidding on my craft. And at the end, I'm giving you this value that is going to completely change your life, going to blow your mind off. And then you wonder, oh, what is going on? Because I use my time that you're using to do this external stuff, building into something that is going to bring change to human lives. Okay, so always start small, new startups, start small wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, start very small. And that leads us to a point where you need to keep track and iterate. That is improve, know what needs to be changed. I see a lot of people, especially those who write books technically. First of all, I read a lot of books. I have a library in my house. I read a lot of books. I think books are just not interested enough. People don't understand the importance of books. Books are awesome. They just can save your life. And therefore, when I read books, I really have to get value from it. But most of the people that I know, especially from African descent, what I have realized is that we write books. And in the end, our goal is more like, I want to have a book that is published at Amazon and stuff like that. But then you go ahead and publish your next book before you even sit down and assess what your book actually have done, the impact it has brought. Figuring out, did you read my book? Did you get anything of value from it? What do you think I can improve on? Is it a lot of fluff? Someone sent me a book which I loved, but it was like 300 pages. And the same book, I read it because it's a family member or someone we have a relationship, because of that respect. Otherwise, I don't read books that are not well written, because I feel like it's not right, But I read it. It was 360 pages. But if you ask me, that book should have been about 125 pages, period. But using 3,000 words instead of using 300 words does not make you provide any more value. That's the fluff. That's the fluff I'm talking about. Providing a lot of fluff, which is, in other words, not respecting the person who is buying your product. You're not respecting their time. You're not respecting their initiative to actually make the move of giving you their money in exchange to a product which is not very well put together. So what you want to do, you want to make sure you package the value. Packaging is another point which is very important. Package the value so that when someone comes and purchases from you, they can get something out of it. It will change their life in one way or another. They need to find value, figure out how to package it, make sure it is good, and the only way to improve it is to learn from the customer. It's not for what you think. It's not about, oh, I feel that people need to have a webinar every Tuesday, just an example, hypothetical. So what you want to do is to know, okay, I would love to provide people with this value. So how do I make the best out of that? And then you will bring them on Tuesday, and then you can follow up and ask them, okay, how are you guys feeling? What do you want us to talk about? Is it bringing enough value to you? Blah, blah, blah. So learn from them. When I'm writing your resume, I want to know, what do you feel about that resume? Did you get the job? What do you think could be improved on? What do you feel would need to be changed, and something like that? So you don't get to define the value as the business owner, as an entrepreneur. What you do, you actually create a path, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. You don't have to figure everything out. The business, the market is going to figure itself out, but then it becomes your job to show it the way into helping you figure the way. Okay. The next thing, which is the last one, is just keep at it, keep doing. The secret is just keep beating on your craft. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to get any easier for the first couple of years, a year or two. You started with really good statistics. Those statistics apply to the US too. over 80% of businesses like are gonna be dead within the 5-year anniversary. That's just how it goes. So the reason you want to stay, if you want to stay afloat, you have got to adjust to the market, know what the market needs so you can provide that, and you keep going. No matter how hard it gets, you kind of have to keep putting your first foot, your left foot in front of the right foot and repeat, keep repeating. And before you know it, you'll be miles and miles ahead. Okay. So that is what I have to share for now. I don't know if there's any questions. I don't know if it's helpful at all.
It has definitely been quite enlightening. You have told us we have to know our why. Money is just a tool, and then you know who to serve. Again, we have to define the problems we are solving, differentiating ourselves, and then learning how to sell. And I think this is very important because a lot of people don't think they need to sell just because they're not salespeople. But if you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to learn how to sell. And then you said we have to accept that we have to start small, and then packaging the value proposition, and also consistency and adjusting accordingly. So in summary, I think that is what you have taught us. And I am going to jump on straight to a few questions. So Alex is asking, can everyone be an entrepreneur, or are there people who you'd advise to stay in employment?
I don't know. That's a good question, Alex. I'm not sure if you want the actual hardcore answer or if
That
you
is
want
what
a
we
nice
want.
answer.
The actual hardcore answer.
Yeah. According to me, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It's not for everybody. Some people are just not cut up for it. They are not cut up for it because you have to be resilient. You have to be very smart. You be able to take action even if they are very risky. You have to be driven and motivated. You know, when you're employed, most of the time there are two types of motivation. There's a motivation that comes from external factors. That is, if I don't get to work at 8 a.m., I'm going to get penalized, I'm going to get fired, or my paycheck is not going to come this month. And so you can keep going to work every day on time, doing what you need to do because you need the money. That is external. Now, when it comes to entrepreneurship, that stuff has got to come from within you because no one's supervising you, no one is making you work, no one is making you even wake up. And sometimes you will put in a lot of work and not get any money, not get to see any results until maybe 4 years later. So entrepreneurship is good, but it's for the people who are cut out for it. Do I think anyone can start a business? Absolutely. Business, absolutely. I can try because business can be you can run your business, but you are an employee to your business. Entrepreneurship is where you bring change to the world. Is where you disrupt what has been there. Is where you move things. It's like next level type thing that requires a whole new ballgame. But if it's about starting a kiosk and M-Pesa shop outside of your, community, village, or something, anyone can do that.
Okay. So how would you tell that someone is not cut out for entrepreneurship at a personal level or on self-assessment?
Oh, at personal level, I love that because I can talk of myself. First of all, just their lifestyle. Just their lifestyle. This is the thing, Grace. Whatever you do spills over in everything that you do in your life. Okay. So, for instance, if you settle for mediocre, this is the number one thing you can know for someone who's not cut out for entrepreneurship. You do a lot of mediocre, and I don't have a better word for that. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but they don't put some thought and work into everything that they do. But someone who is cut out for entrepreneurship, they actually understand that the core of everything is putting in effort, and their mindset is beyond the limitations of things that we see. For instance, you can give two people an idea right now. I can tell you, hey guys, I am looking for two people who I can partner with to get Afrimentor going in Kenya because I have thousands and thousands of people waiting for me to launch. And two people, so I was saying you can present two people with an idea, same idea, But then what they do about it is what will help you determine if this person is gonna go far or they are as placeholders and they want it easy. Okay, entrepreneurs take action. They don't wait to be guided. They take action. If I say something that you really want for me to help you with, or you want to help me with, or you want to connect with me, before this webinar is over, an entrepreneur has already gone to my Facebook page, have looked me up, added me as a connection, or they have sent an email or something like that, or chat me privately. But other people, they're going to be, oh, that is good information, and that's the end.
Okay, we lost you a bit for a minute there.
I was saying the difference between an entrepreneur and a regular business person or an employee is that an entrepreneur takes action, massive action on time. They don't feel lazy. And when they hear, for instance, after the presentations, after the webinars, after the guests you bring in, if there's someone they want to connect with, they will be going to look ways to connect with them. But then other people will be like, oh, wow, that is pretty good information. God bless you. And that's it.
Excellent, excellent. So another question is, how will I know that it is time to fold my business as an entrepreneur, having failed, and go back into employment if need be? Even resilience and persistence have their limits. So how do you know
I
when to
do not
fold?
when to say that again. Sorry, you broke a little bit.
Okay, how will I know that it is time to fold my business as an entrepreneur, having failed, and go back into employment?
Some of these things you just know from deep, like from your gut. From your gut, you will know, like, this is not working out. But remember our point, our fifth point, where you have to iterate because it's all about you cannot stop. The way your business is today could be making money and all of that. It's not going to be the same. Everything changes. Everything, if whatever is not growing is dying. It's either or. There's no middle ground. So if you do not do things that will actively help your business to grow, then you're gonna be dying. You're gonna be killing it. And when things happen, sometimes it's not even your fault. You could be doing everything that you want to do, but then something that is beyond your control happens, like coronavirus. When it gets to that point, as an entrepreneur, you need to be wise, wisdom to know, what, it's now time to actually close the doors and go back and look for unemployment, or at the same time figure out how I can start another business that is going to adjust to the current situation. So just because you're an entrepreneur, you don't keep at it. By the way, entrepreneurs have failed like almost 7 times. Every entrepreneur has a series of failures because you don't need 7 ideas to succeed. You just need one right idea to just hit that breakthrough. And in the process of you finding that one idea, just that one right idea, you can come across 10 failures. Just because you fail does not mean you're not an entrepreneur, or you are slow or thick, or you should quit it. No, you just change that, keep going.
Excellent, excellent. I'm liking that. Now, the other question is, when you want to start entrepreneurship, how do you balance with employment? How can you start a business while you're still employed?
Yeah, that is more like a side hustle. It's like how we say, oh, you want to start a side hustle.
Yeah.
If you want to balance them, you start as a side hustle. And this happens mostly if you are looking at it, if you're starting from a lean startup. Like I said, mine was pretty lean. I didn't even save up money to start a business. I just started providing solutions to a problem that I saw in the market, the gap that I saw, which turned out to be a business because I was already at a place where I wanted to help to start a business, to do something greater than just employment. But then when that idea came by, I did everything by putting in value, which turned into entrepreneurship. So I did not need to like quit and struggle. I just woke up and quit because I was like, you know what, I'm finding more fulfillment here. At that point, honestly, it wasn't even giving me enough money than what I was getting from my employment. But my belief on my idea was super strong. I did not even doubt it was going to go places.
Okay. And then Lisa Molo is asking, could you share the challenges, Miss Gina?
The major challenge that I can recall from my life is not assessing the market right. Now remember, every solution, every market that you are coming to provide solutions to, they do have its own challenges. I'll give you an example. In 2014, I came to Kenya and I was starting an organization called Levige, and I was going to be providing elites or people with professional house helps like nannies, you know. And so I had everything all set up, and what I did not realize by not studying the market, I actually thought you can get house girls, those nannies from Facebook, from Instagram, stuff like that. But I did not understand that house girls in Kenya technically don't have the cell phones, or if they have a cell phone, it might not be a smartphone. And if it's a smartphone, they might not even be able to access Facebook by buying data each and every day to look for nanny type of positions, you know. So coming from the American market where everyone has a smartphone and internet, I thought the same way is going to be applicable to Kenya. By having a Facebook, I will be able to get all these girls from the villages. Things don't work like that in the ground. So what you want to do is just assess where you are going to provide those solutions, understand the culture of what you will be expecting, and then adjust to that. Adjust to that. Otherwise, you don't want to invest and put in a lot of thought and process into something or a product that is not going to solve the solution, the problem that is existing. That's a major challenge that I can think of.
Okay, and on to the last question now. Um, as an entrepreneur, Cyrus is asking, maybe as an entrepreneur, how do you decide on how much to pay yourself? Is there like a general rule of how much to save for the business and how much to keep?
I would recommend, you say she's Sarah? Okay.
Cyrus.
Oh, Cyrus. Oh, hey,
Yeah.
Cyrus. I would recommend that you read a book called Profit First. Okay, it's by Michael somebody, I'm forgetting his last name. So in that book, that is what I go by, because I think he did a really good job in helping entrepreneurs understand how to compensate yourself. Because we put in a lot of work, thought, and our time using our computers. I was using my personal computer. Business should compensate for that. So what you want to do, he provided this concept where you have got all of your income coming in from one source, and then you subdivide it by percentages, where even before you pay bills or do anything, you start by profit. That's why the book is called Profit First. So Profit First is gonna help you know what percentages to go by. And as an entrepreneur, just so you know, you can earn anything. You take all the money if you want. You your work and just the dedication you put in that company can guarantee you whatever you want to earn. But then mostly you will start by like 5% goes to the profit, and then you get about 40% to you, or about maximum 50%. That is your income, that is your pay. And then you will have the taxes. In the US is about 12% tax, and then you have the expenses, business expense, about 38%, 30 to 38%. So if for every $1,000 that you earn, 5%, for every $100, for every 100 shillings that you get, 5 shillings will go to profit, and then you're gonna get 40, and then you're gonna put $12. I think it is about 16 shillings towards tax, because you don't want to not pay tax, and then you will keep 38 towards building the business. And that 38, that is gonna be enough for you to do your systems, get new computers, phones, and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you. That's a very good answer. And the last question, is it advisable to sell your home or an asset to boost a business that have shown positive trend within the 3 months of startup?
Well, now that is tricky, but this is what I will say. For instance, let's say Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon today, who is worth about billions and billions, his company is worth trillions. They're only the first company on earth to be worth trillions of dollars. So he did not have any income. He had to get his parents to lend him $300,000, which was going to put the whole family at jeopardy if the idea did not work, you know. But he did it, and today he can just pay his parents a whole trillion in return. And then when it comes to other people, they will start, they will just even drain their savings or their retirement fund to just fund a business, only to end up like broke and more miserable than they if they did not do that. So it comes down to like gut feeling. I want you to think of business like a projection of yourself. A business is always going to be you in a different, in a different frame of perception. So if you believe in what you're doing and you're a very responsible person, you listen, you can know when to quit, you know how to listen to your own gut, that could guide you. But if you're not sure, don't do that. Don't do that. Let it go.
Excellent, excellent. I think we are going to end the questions there because it's already 9 o'clock. It's a minute too. So, and we have a lot of questions about the book. If you can text me the book, then I'll share it as we send the thank you, the Profit First by Michael somebody.
Okay, I can actually share it here right now.
Yeah. In summary of what Gina has told us, if you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to know your why. You also need to know that money is only a tool. It can only take you so far. You have to have your passion in check. You have to have knowledge in check. You have to know who you want to serve. You have to define your market. You also have to define what problems you're trying to solve, and then differentiate yourself. Learn how to sell. Again, start small. Also, value and how to package your value proposition. Again, consistency and adjusting to the market you're serving. So that is a summary of what Gina has taught us, and she has shared the link to the book. Cyrus and the rest, you can see Profit First Transform, Cash Eating Money Making ebook, whatever. The link is on the chat, so somebody can have a look at that. And thank you very much, Gina, for making the time to be with us. And I know technology almost messed us up today, but we did know that in the US and Kenya, we need to prepare 2 days early, in advance. But we are really grateful that you could make the time and you have shared some insights on how to become an entrepreneur. We really appreciate that. Thank you, Zalego Academy, our IT partners. Thank you, GGW, for the support. I don't know what I would do without you girls. Do not forget to tune in to Pearl Radio 96.9 FM in Nairobi. I repeat, 96.9 FM in Nairobi. That is Pearl Radio. Thank you very much, our audience, for always tuning in, and it's always a pleasure having you. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and for always being with us. My name is Grace Nzula from Atara Solutions, and I have been your host. Please like our Facebook page, Atara Solutions. Follow us on Instagram, Atara Solutions. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Atara Solutions. See you next week at the same time, same place, as we look at money management. You retired when you started working. This is going to be interesting, and we hope to see you at that time, Tuesday next week from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. From all of us, it's good night.